Hi guys, welcome. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day. It's been a beautiful sunny day today, and I'm still teaching from our den. That seems to be the easiest place for me to set up my yoga mat and still do this videotaping. So I know there's a lot going on right now. There's so much going on in the world, and we're all just trying to stay on top of things and not allow our minds to go into places that are not unhealthy for us. So we're going to get started. This is a foundational class, so we'll move through some different postures, different asanas, but we'll keep in mind that we are in more foundational grounding, staying with the foundation of yoga, staying with our breath, moving into the movement of the asana, and staying focused with being present at this time, which helps in all situations. If you can just let your mind stay with where you're at and not allow it to move into the past or start jumping ahead too far into the future, unless of course you're planning for the future. But when you're moving in the present moment, we want to connect all your senses to your center, to your being. Aware that those around you are just as important to who you are today, but on your mat and in this practice, we want to try to, just for this next hour or so, try to allow yourself this time, let your mind have this time to let go of all worries and just be present and just feel. How are you feeling? Just checking in. So we're going to start on our back. My name's Julie. Hi. So we're going to start on our back. So come to your back. If you need blocks, go ahead and get blocks. If you'd like to get a sip of water along the way, have your water bottle with you. If you want to put some music on, go ahead. Again, the reason we don't play music in our videos is because when they're put up to YouTube, the music has to be licensed correctly, and we really don't know, since we're not in the music industry, we're not sure of all the music that is free to put up on YouTube and that which is not. So if you like music in the background, maybe something kind of quiet, go ahead and turn that on as well. And the wonderful thing about these videos is you can start them and stop them along the way. You should have plenty of time to move through this practice. So lying on your back, let's start out with you on your back. Just maybe coming into a state of Shavasana. Your arms by your side. Just working your shoulder blades closer together. Maybe it's helpful to bend your knees and lift your hips up, to roll your tail underneath you, and then lower your back down. Keep your knees bent or extend your legs long. Take your gaze a little bit side to side, just rolling through the neck. Relax the jaw. Release the tongue. The roof of the mouth and from behind the teeth, just let it be free. Staying there on your back with your eyes closed. Maybe you want to start reaching your arms up and over your head and reach through your toes, stretch it out, draw your chin slightly towards your chest, feeling the back of your neck stretching, lengthening. And then deciding where you would like to settle back in, maybe your hands are by your legs and your palms up. Just for a moment, know why you are here. knowing why you are here, why you are on your mat, what it is that you need today from this practice. So taking just a few moments, maybe even setting an intention at this time, which would go along with the reason that you have come to your mat. You have taken the time to be present right now. Because once you're clear in your mind, then you are ready to start your practice. Very important. So we start most of our classes in this very gentle form of reaching and stretching and meditation. And begin to take an inner inventory. That can be very grounding. So just inventory. Where's your mind? Bring it into the room, onto your mat. How are your shoulders? Can you open up through your heart a little further? Feel your hips, your thighs, all the way down to your toes. And make any adjustments that you need right now to feel a little more of that grounding sensation. And then begin to allow your awareness to sink into your lower belly. And from here, notice the rhythm of your breath. Feel the rising and the falling of each inhalation and exhalation. And do not try to change anything, but accept your breath. Accept the breath exactly as it is. Just notice it. To remain focused, you may want to mentally say in and out with each breath. Or note yourself rising and falling. For some of you, it may be easier just to follow the breath by noticing the movement of the air in and out of the body. The feeling of the air in the throat or on the upper lip. And now let your awareness linger wherever it is easier for you to stay with the sensation of your breath. So now go ahead and take a deep inhale in through the nose and just sigh out any tension in the body. Just let it go. Deep in through the nose 2 more times. And exhale. So breathe into the nose all the way down to the lower belly. And then exhale all the way to the crown of the head. Inhale through the nose to the throat, to the lungs, to the belly, all the way to the toes. And exhale out through the crown of the head. Now take a breath in through the nose for a count of 3, 2, 1. And exhale. 3, 2, 1. And inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Carry on with that breath throughout this practice, mirroring the inhales with the exhales. I'm going to be taking the exhale 1 or 2 counts longer than the inhale. Whatever suits your needs for this practice today. Take 1 more breath. Rolling your ankles, rolling your wrist, wiggling your toes and your fingers. Just extend long from your fingertips to your toes, reaching in opposite directions while staying connected to your center, your core. And then bending your knees, hug your knees in. Maybe roll a little side to side, maybe scissoring through the knees. And then allowing your hands to take your legs up towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Just feel your toes reaching towards the sky. Feel your energy rising. And using your hands, allow your legs to open out wide. So flex your heels. Reach through your heels, flex through your feet. Maybe point your toes and then flex your feet one more time. Maybe continue to open wider through your inner legs. And then bringing your legs back together again, just draw your knees back in towards your chest and lift up towards your knees, breathing. And lower your head back down so that you roll over to the right side, extend your right arm, excuse me, so that you're resting your right ear on your arm. And then using your hands to lift yourself back up, come to Sukhasana, a comfortable seated, easy position. So I'm turning around to face you, but it may be best that you're still facing the front of your mat. You're resting the hands on the knees. Feel your spine lengthening, draw your shoulders back. Again, eyes are gently open, so inhale. Now exhale the left hand to the outside of the right thigh and just begin to twist in that direction, gazing to the right corners of your eyes. Take a full breath. And then come back to center with a full breath. And then twist to the other side. Your chest towards the long edge of the mat. Take your gaze to the corners of your eyes. Take a breath here. And then coming back to center. Now inhale, reach your arms up, interlace through your palms. Reach your palms towards the sky. Maybe work your arms back slightly, and then reach up a little higher. And then exhale, taking your hands forward, maybe your hips, and you can release the bind of your hands. Extend long through your fingertips. We take the forearms down. Draw your crown towards your fingertips. Work your shoulders back and take 3 breaths here. And using your hands to take you back upright, we're going to roll over so that we're in an active child's pose. So your knees are already spread apart. So when you roll over to your hands and knees, just let your toes touch and shift your hips back to your heels. Walk your hands forward. If you need to rest your elbows down, do so. And just take a few breaths here. And then rising back up, keeping your knees spread apart. We're going to go right into the threading of the needle or the twisted puppy. So taking your right arm, weaving it through the left, and bringing your right shoulder down, your right ear down, and just keep that left arm reaching out in front so that you're lengthening. take that top arm back behind you, gaze towards your left shoulder and breathe. And using your left hand to bring yourself back up, we'll weave the left arm through the right, the ear down, left ear down, right arm nice and long, squaring your hips, and maybe wrapping that right arm back behind you as it reaches for your inner left thigh, opening through the heart, breathing. Gaze to the right corners of your eyes. And using your right hand to bring yourself back up, drawing your knees in towards one another, rounding through the tops of the feet. Open your fingers nice and wide, gazing down at your fingers. Push in and press into the pads of each little fingertip, firm into the knuckles, and draw the fingertips towards your wrist. And then coming into a cow, so start to rock your hips, sitting bones up. Push from the ground first to lead your chest forward, lift your gaze, lift your chin, deep inhale. And then exhale back into a mat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Begin to roll through the elbows, maybe shift through the hips. Maybe rounding the hips in circles. Raise your breath. Roll to the other side. A few more rounds of your cat and cow. So move through your cat and cow postures as though it's the first time that you have ever done this. So that you're just moving without intention. You want to be very focused on how this feels. And taking your hands about a hand distance forward, shift your hips to your wrist. So yoga is very much about repetition. Lift your hips up and back towards your heels, stretching out. Just like life is full of repetitions. Hips to the wrist, lift your gaze. What we try to make it is new. It is repetitious, but it's new because it's the first time that you have done it at this moment. Lead your chest forward and up, and then come back into an active child's pose and take a few breaths here. Rise back to your hands and knees. So from your hands and knees, we're going to tuck our toes, lift our knees, hover the knees over the mat. Draw your palms to your toes to your palms. Begin to lift your hips up high. Stay balanced with your heels lifted. Now push away from your arms. Press into your mat. Lift your heels higher. Let your head just drop down. And slowly begin to pedal out through the heels. Bending alternate knees. Walking your dog. Stepping your feet forward. Stepping your feet back. Finding what we call that hang time where you bend one knee and take a few breaths there. So I'll take 3 with my right knee bent. And change it out, bending the left knee. And then lifting both heels up nice and high. Again, press your hands as if you're pushing a car up the hill. Lift your hips up as though your hips are bound up towards the sky. Now bend your knees towards your elbows and gaze between your hands. And then straighten your legs and gaze through your legs. And bend your knees and gaze through your hands. And straighten your legs and gaze through your legs. Now just drop your knees back down. Extend the right leg out behind you and line it up with your front knee. Pivot on your front knee to take your foot off the mat and reach your right arm up. Get opening through the chest, gazing to your fingertips, and lifting your right leg up for 3, 2, 1. Now bending the knee and reaching for the foot, opening through the heart for 3, 2, 1. Release the hand and the foot and come back to your hands and your knees. Take a couple rounds of your cow and your cat, pivoting through the hip, opening through the chest, connecting the breath to the movement. And then extending the left leg out, pivot on the right knee, foot comes off the mat, balance on the right hand, and lift the left arm up. Stay here, or go ahead and lift your top leg up for 3, 2, 1. Bend through the knee, reach for the foot, keep the knee lifted for 3, 2, 1. Release the hand and the foot, come back to your hands and knees. Now tuck your toes under and work your hands back towards your body. And we're going to come into a gate pose. So if you have blocks and you want to use blocks or books, whatever you've set up at your home, I'm going to face the long edge of the mat. Just put my blocks so I can reach them. So from kneeling, our gate pose, you can start with your toes tucked under and just extend your right leg out. Either your right foot is now parallel to the mat, maybe set your block up to the left side, either at its highest or the next, or whatever it is that you need. And you can have your outer edge of your right foot parallel, or you can also just flex through the heel, keep the toes lifted high. So wherever you've decided to go, tee your arms out and start by taking your left hand down to the block or the ground and just reach your right arm up and over and gaze to your right palm and take 3 full deep breaths for 1, 2, 3, and come up. And then take your right hand down the right leg and extend through the left arm. You might even want to use that right arm to extend, find that extension, and breathe deeply. Gaze to your inner elbow or to your palm for 3, 2, 1, and then coming back up. Bring your hands forward and hands down, and draw your right knee in, and we'll set up for the other side. So coming back to kneeling, extend that left leg out, however you chose to do so on the other side. Now your right foot, the toes can be tucked under, or if you prefer the top of the foot down, you can go there too. Now teeing your arms out, take a deep inhale, and then exhale the right hand down, and left arm up and over, gaze towards your inner left elbow, just stretching it out and breathing for 3, 2, 1, and rising back up. Now taking your left hand down the left leg, swim stroke that right arm up and over, whatever's feeling right to you. Maybe you need a little encouragement, just gently, so you're not pulling, you're not tugging, you're just encouraging a little deeper stretch on the right side body and gazing to your right palm and breathing for 3, 2, 1. And then arms forward and down. And draw your left knee. So let's go to the other side. So if you've decided that maybe you need a little bit more support on your knees, you can use a blanket, whatever you might have laying around. I guess we don't have as many blankets laying around. With 90-degree weather, it's warm. That's why the air is running right now. So, obviously. So now we're going to take the right leg out again and maybe lower your block on the left side this time. Tee your arms out. And we'll start again with the left side and reach the right arm up, or you can take your right hand to your waist and lift your right leg up, or you can take your right arm up to the sky, and wherever you are, we'll hold this for 3, 2, 1. And then come back up and take your right hand down the right leg and take your left arm up and over for 3, 2, 1. And inhale, lift yourself up and take your left hand down. Maybe lower your block another notch and reach your right leg up for 3, 2, 1. And coming back up, take your right hand down, extend your left arm up and over for 3, 2, 1. And tee your arms out. Maybe bring your hand all the way to the mat. And extend your right leg up. And bend your top knee and reach for your foot. Kick your foot into your hand for 3, 2, 1. Reach the right leg out and lift yourself up. And bring your right knee into your left, or you can take your hands down first to draw your knees in, and then come to the other side. So extend your left leg out. Tee your arms out. Again, maybe you take your block down a notch as you reach your arm up and over. You can stay here or lift your top leg up. For 3, 2, 1. And come back to your gate pose and take the left hand down the left leg and reach the right arm up, gazing to your palm for 1, 2, 3. And tee the arms out. Maybe bring the block down 1, keeping the left foot grounded, the left arm reaching up and over, or maybe reaching straight up. Whatever feels right to you, lift the top leg for 3, 2, 1. And rise back up. Take the left hand down, right arm up and over, maybe go a little deeper for 3, 2, 1. Come back up. This time you might decide to try it without the block, keeping your left foot down, or lifting it up, or bending the knee and reaching for the top of the foot, kicking the foot into the hand, gazing up for 3, 2, 1. Extending the leg out and lifting yourself up. Bring your hands forward and down as you draw that left knee in. So take a moment, just sit back on your heels. Maybe close your eyes. Settle in, take a few breaths. Then reaching your arms out and up. Reaching for your elbows, working your elbows back, and then drawing your front ribs in. Drawing your chin in towards your chest. Take a few breaths here. Keep working your elbows up and back, breathing deeply. And releasing your arms forward and down. So if you grab the blanket as I did for my knees, you might want to move that blanket aside now. And we're going to come back to our hands and knees. You can set the blocks aside as well, or maybe leave them at the front of your mat. Let's do that. Let's take our blocks to the front of our mat in case we decide to play with them there. Okay? So here we are, hands and knees. Do a cow to catch your breath again. And your cat, exhale. Tap the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Now gazing forward, slowly walk your feet to your hands. Now if you put your block to the front of your mat, maybe take your block and press your hands down into the block. Even if you don't need it, sometimes just playing using blocks is just a whole different experience for you. So inhale, draw your chest through your shoulders, lift your sitting bones higher. Now bend your knees and try to just let your belly drop towards your thighs. Maybe rock a little weight into the balls of the feet and keep working your hips up, chest to thighs, maybe even sliding your block beside your feet. Let your head go. Find your breath. Keep the knees gently soft so you don't hyperextend through the knees. You lift your quads up slightly. Let your chest come closer to your thighs and take your gaze north and south. Maybe east and west. If you have your arms in any other variation, that is fine. Whatever feels right to you today. And then again, if you have your blocks, you can take your left block to the center and bend both knees. You may need to step your feet out a bit, about hip distance apart. And bend your left knee or both knees and reach your right arm up. A lot of twisting today. Gaze to your right palm for 3, 2, 1. Bring your right hand down, bend your right knee, and extend your left arm up. Breathe in for 3, 2, 1. And bring your left hand down. And moving your blocks to the side, slowly trace your hands up your legs and find your way in standing in Sanskriti. Equal standing. So from equal standing, we're going to start out a little differently, and that is going to be in a tree pose. So we've been working with our twisting. We're going to also work with our balance. So your right foot can be at your calf, your shin, or your calf, or above the knee, or up to the inner left thigh. You can use a wall if you have a wall or some stabilizing factor. But you're equally pushing your foot into your inner thigh as your outer thigh is drawing in towards your foot. That will help to stabilize any shakiness. Hands to the heart, gaze to the fingertips, ground down through the feet, but be flexible with the movement. So when you're finding balance, that means you have to kind of move around to to find what your balance is today. It's not going to be the same as it was yesterday or the way it will be tomorrow. It's today. Stay with your breath, gaze to the nose, maybe gaze down from the nose to the ground, and take 3 breaths here. If you want to play with your balance and imagine yourself a gorgeous tree rooting down with all your limbs just blowing to the wind, moving, feeling the birds flying in and out of the limbs of the tree, just hearing all the sounds of the earth. Bring your hands back up and over, and hands back to the heart, and release the right foot down beside the left. So we're moving a little slower perhaps than we have in some practices, but it just given the time of the year, it's so warm and so many changes that it's good to just have a very gentle practice that is also foundational in practice. Keep your gaze steady, keep your breath steady, keep your mind with the breath, and allow the breath to move you in the direction of which you go. So the left foot to the inner right ankle or below the knee, or the left foot up towards your inner thigh. So without us actually being together, we can only imagine that we are in a room together. I'm imagining, I saw Julie, you signed up. Sunitha, if you're here, I saw that you signed up. So hello. So reach your arms up. It does help to see you there, to see your names there. And I know you, so I visualize you being in front of me as we move through our tree pose. I visualize the idea of school starting and what it is that's going through your mind, and then finding that flow, and maybe one side is a little more windy than the other. And then just come back to standing. Good. So bend your knees again. So let's just open the hips slightly. Bend your knees forward and cross your shin over your left thigh. Like I said, we're going kind of a gentle foundational class today. So open your knees out to the side. Shift your hips back and down. Maybe reach your hands forward. For those that can come into the studio, I'm teaching a Ashtanga class on Saturday still. Breathing deeply, hips down towards the heels. Breathe for 3, 2, 1, and lift yourself up. And change it out to the other side. So crossing your ankle over the top of the knee, bending the knee. You might not go further than this today, or continue to drop your hip down, maybe fold forward, just encouraging this left leg out to the side, and stay here for 3 breaths for 1, 2, 3, inhale, lift yourself up, and release your left foot down to your right. Take a nice step out, your feet out, feet parallel. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Take your left hand down the left leg and just reach your right arm up and over, stretching out through your fingertips into the outer edge of the back foot. And then inhale, come up, taking your right hand down the right leg, reaching your left fingertips up and over, stretching it out. And inhale, take your arms out, thumbs down, reach around and bind with the palms, open through the heart. And exhale, fold forward, maybe allowing your hands up towards the sky or up and over your ears, or maybe even touching and tapping the earth just behind you, and breathe. And slowly make your way back up. So now stepping back to the front of the mat. Good. We're going to move through a very different way of going through a sun salutation. We're going to do it in steps, in stages. So 3 times, we're just going to reach our arms up, fold forward, and come back straight back up to standing. So we're going to try to build a little prana, a little energy into the body, okay? So inhale, reach the arms up, gaze up, look to your palms. And exhale, you can bend your knees as you reach forward for the breath. And then inhale, arms rise up again, gaze up, look up, and exhale, dive forward, reaching for the breath. And inhale, arms out and up, gaze up, look up, and exhale, dive forward, reaching for the ground. And then slowly come back to standing, Samasthiti. Shrug your shoulders up and back, forward and back, or maybe back and forward. So from here, we'll do that, and then we'll move into a plank. So inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. And just step your way into a plank position. From plank position, lift your hips up and back into down dog. And then inhale to plank. Exhale, inhale, lift your hips up and back to down dog. Exhale. Inhale, lift yourself, slide into higher plank. And exhale, this time draw your hips back into down dog. And gazing forward between your hands, step your feet to your hands. Inhale, find a half lift, slide your hands up your legs. And exhale, fold out and over your legs. Inhale, rise up. So you may be saying, that's not how we do a sun salutation, eh? But again, this is your practice, and there's days where we want to do it, but we want to do it in a little easier, softer fashion. So this would be an option. This is like, you can still move, you can still do sun salutations, but you are allowed to change it up. There's nobody there that's telling you you can't do it, as long as you do it mindfully, and as long as you're aware of why you're doing it, okay? You're not just moving haphazardly. You're just simplifying the movement. Nothing wrong with that. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, hips back as you reach for the ground. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, come back to that high plank position and hold your high plank position. And we'll hold this for 3 breaths. For 1, 2, 3. And drop your knees down. Take the tops of the feet down. And let your elbows glaze your rib cage as you lead your chest forward. And just hover for 1 breath. And then lift yourself up and push back into child's pose. Rise back to your hands and knees. Draw your elbows back, lead your chest forward, and hover your chest over your mat for 1 breath. And lift yourself up with the inhale, and shift your hips back into child's pose. Coming back forward once again. Elbows back, chest forward, and hover for 1 breath. And lift yourself back into an active child's pose. Now rise to your hands and knees and tuck your toes under and find a downward facing dog. Maybe step your feet closer to your hands. Feel your heels grounding and your hips lifting, and your armpits leading you forward, so your shoulders are moving forward. Gaze to your navel and take 2 breaths here for 1, 2. And looking forward, slowly step your feet to your hands. Inhale, half lift, hands slide up the shin. Exhale, fold in deeply, and then inhale, rise up, Arms up and over your head, gaze to your palms, and come back to standing. Samasthiti. So sitting in your chair, bend your knees, sink your hips, and reach your arms up. Uttanasana. Fold forward. Inhale, half lift. And step back into a plank position. And drop your knees down. Move through your chaturanga, hover. Inhale, lift yourself up and shift your hips back to your heels. Into a child's pose. Lift up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up. And take 2 breaths in down dog for 1. 2. Gaze forward and step your feet to your hands. Inhale, slide your hands up your shins or hands on the ground. Half lift. Exhale, fold it in. And sit in your chair for Uttanasana, chair pose. And come back to standing. Good, one more time. Uttanasana, chair. Uttanasana, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, back, plank. Drop your knees. Elbows back, chest forward, and hover for a breath. And then inhale to push away from the earth and shift your hips back to your heels. For 2 breaths in child's pose. And lift yourself up. Just tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back, down dog for 2 breaths. Gaze to your navel. Gaze to your hands and step your feet to your hands. And inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold it in. And slowly tracing your hands up your legs. Reach your arms out and up. And gaze to your palms. And come back into standing. Samasthiti. Standing and Samasthiti. Take a big step out to the right long edge of your mat and see that your feet are parallel. So now inhale, reach your arms out and just fold it forward, taking your hands to the ground. If you need a block or want a block, you can grab a block so that you're folded forward and your palms are grounded either to the ground or on the block, or you might be using 2 blocks, like so. And then bend your right knee and just let your hips move towards your right heel. Now if that puts tension on your knee at all, then let your toes, your right toes point out so your knees move in that same direction. And then come back to center. And maybe take your toes out so the knees move in that direction. Put a bend into that left knee, and then come back up, and change it out, and back up. Now if you can do this with your feet parallel, and your knees staying in the direction of your toes, then that is fine too. Let's go to the right, and up, to the left, and up, to the right, bend into the right, hips to the right, hands staying centered. One more time. Just getting a nice inner thigh stretch. Maybe bring your hands up to your heart and put a bend into the right knee. And then back up, bend towards the left, back up to the right, up, hands down. So taking your hands to your waist with the inhale. And exhale, hands at the waist. Now bend the knees forward and lift yourself up to standing. Taking your right toes, pointing them towards the back of the mat. Just reach your arms out, coming into triangle pose. So wherever your hand goes today, if you want to try a different form of triangle, you could take a block to the inside of your leg and bring your hand down to that block and extend your arm up. Just notice, how does this feel? Both legs are straight, chest is opening and twisting towards the sky as your gaze is up towards your left fingertips for 3 breaths. For 1, 2, 3. And then taking your left hand down, framing your right foot with your hands, so either a fist or your blocks. You want your blocks, and you would take your blocks to either side of your right foot and just fold out and over the leg ever so slightly for 3, 2, 1. And then slowly, move the blocks, lift yourself up, and take your right foot so it's now parallel to your left, and taking your left toes now pointing towards the front of the mat. We're going to move into Utthita Trikonasana. So maybe your hand is down the shin or to that block to the inside of your leg as you're gazing up for 3, 2, 1. So if you had blocks on one side and you need them on this side, take your time, get your blocks, make sure they're by your left foot, and then pivot around so that your hips are facing the front of your mat and fold out and over your front leg. The knee can be soft if you need to bend into the knee for 3, 2, 1. Taking your feet parallel to one another one more time. So come up halfway on an inhale. Exhale, hands to the waist. And inhale, bend your knees, tuck your tailbone, lift yourself up. Reach your arms out to the side and pivot to face the front of your mat, stepping your back foot forward, Samasthiti. So we're going to move into a pigeon pose. Inhale, arms up, look up for the Vinyasa, making your way to pigeon. Exhale, go forward, Utkatasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, back into your plank position. And from plank position, just lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Extend your right leg up and out behind you. Draw your right knee to your right elbow, slide it down to your wrist, and then slide your back leg back. So your front shin is parallel to the front of the mat, if and only it does not put pain and stress into the knee. If the knee is stressed out by that, then the right heel comes to the left hip. Inhale, open through the heart. And exhale, fold forward, out and over the right leg. And take 5 deep full breaths here. And using your hands to lift yourself up, just fall onto the right thigh, the leg that's in front, just fall over onto that outer thigh, and take your left foot out to the side, and then hook your left ankle to the outside of your right thigh and hug your knee in, finding length in the spine. And then maybe cradle that knee, just hugging the knee. Again, try to avoid no tension, no tearing or pulling of the shoulder. So it's more about the knee coming towards you. You're just stabilizing with your shoulders. You're not using that to torque into a deeper posture. For that, you're using your breath and your bandhas. Take 2 breaths here. And then coming back. And releasing so that you can fold and roll forward. From your hands and knees, just tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back into a downward facing dog. Now taking the left leg out. 3-legged dog. Draw the left knee to the elbow as it slides down to the ground. Opening the left foot as much so that the shin is parallel as works for your body. You want your hips to stay nice and level, taking your hands back towards your hips and then open through your chest. So start out with a nice open heart, a deep breath into the lungs. And then exhale all the way down, either all the way down with your arms reaching forward, your belly down, or bending into your elbows and with your forehead. Rest on your forearms and taking 5 breaths here. This should feel very good. This is a restorative posture. Using your hands to bring yourself back up, roll to the left thigh, cross that right leg out to the side and hook it over your left leg. You may want to set up on your mat centered. So just hugging your knee in, staying here. So it's about feeling your sitting bones grounded, your spine lengthening, your shoulders back, your heart open, finding peace with this practice. Maybe cradling your knee, or not even taking your elbow all the way. If that bothers your knee, then just gently use your hands to find a little bit of a twisting action here. And gaze in the right corners of your eyes for 3 full breaths for 1, 2, 3. And then just taking your gaze forward and extend your legs out. So this yoga practice, as you all know, you know me, this class is very accessible. Yoga is accessible to all bodies at some level. So depending on many things in your life, depending on all the things in your life, depending on your body, the structure of your body, the health of your body, it will change what your asana practice looks like. You will be going much further than some people, not as far as others. All of that is fine. What's important is that yoga is accessible to all levels, all people. As long as there's not a medical issue, which doctors say to yoga. Most doctors say do yoga, find yoga. I keep having people come to me, never done yoga before. They get their bodies unhealthy and now they want me, or they want yoga into their life and they don't know where to start. So you all are very blessed because you've started, I know, at least a year ago, if not longer. Many of you have been practicing for years and you just want a gentle form of practice. Awesome! So just be a cheerleader for those around you that also are looking for yoga and let them know yoga is for all people at one level or another. So moving the flesh from the sitting bones, just let your hands trace down your legs and take a forward fold. Maybe your hands are just resting on your shins and your chin is drawn in. Maybe you're reaching for your toes or you're taking the sides of your feet and you're just breathing, taking a very gentle forward fold. then coming out of that forward fold, make your way onto your back. So where we started in the beginning of practice. Just stretch your arms up and over your head, lengthening. And we would like to have some form of an inversion here at the closing of your practice. So I'm going to do an inversion where I take one of these blocks and I'm going to use it to sit on. So I'm going to sit on my block, not on my sacrum, like my bottom is on the block here, so that you can extend your legs up to the wall. So it's another variation of L shape without going into a full shoulder stand. So there are days when this is enough. And we're going to take 10 breaths here. So you count your breath. Each inhale's 3, each exhale's 3. I'm not going to count. I want you to feel your body, feel the flow, the circulation throughout your body. Feel your breath. Let's start now. I'm counting, just not aloud. Five more breaths. Three. 2. One more breath. So if you went up on a block, then you would bend your knees so that your feet come down and move your block to the side. This would be a perfect place to go to back bends, but we only have so much time this morning. So dropping your hips down, just hugging your knees in towards your chest. And rock side to side on your sacrum. And keeping your right knee drawn in, extend your left leg forward and down. So lengthen, straighten your left leg, keep the bend in the right knee. Keep working that right knee toward your right shoulder. And then extend the right leg out and draw the left knee in, hugging the left knee to the left shoulder, feeling your spine grounding, flexing through the feet. And extend the left leg out. Now bending your knees, push down through your feet, tee your arms out to the side, feel your shoulder blades grounded. So lift your hips up and let your hips just kind of roll to the left. And then draw your knees in and take your knees to the right, gazing to the left for 3 breaths. Keeping your knees drawn in, bring them back to center, ground your feet, set your spine up nice and straight, and lift your hips up and swing your hips to the right. So what happens as you bend your knees and take your knees to the left, you have more of a straight alignment in the spine, easier to keep your shoulder blades grounded, and gaze to the right for 3 breaths. back to center, lift your hips up and square your hips, lengthen through the spine, and just take a nice stretch one more time from fingertips to toes. Now bringing your hands by your thighs, hug your knees in, and find a happy baby. So either reaching for the toes or the inner or outer edges of your feet, bring the soles of the feet to the sky, and roll side to side, being a happy baby with a smile on your face. Stay present. So this is key, not to start to let your mind wander quite yet. If it does, it's fine. Just bring it to the breath. And then release the hands from the feet. Maybe just bend the knees today. Extend the legs long. Bring your hands out or by your hips, palms up. Maybe find yourself settled on your mat if you want to use that blanket for support under your knees or cover your chest or your thighs. Just settle into your Shavasana and close your eyes. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh out through the mouth. And just like we started the practice, take your awareness for a moment to your lower belly. And just let your breath be as it is, no longer controlling it. Just follow your breath. And stay with your breath. Stay wherever it goes. Maybe your breath lands at the heart center. Maybe your breath goes to the third eye between the eyebrows, your intuition. Maybe your breath goes to your right leg or your left leg. Just stay with it. Follow the breath. Notice the inhales, the exhales. Don't guide your breath. Just allow it to be as is. Stay in Shavasana as long as you have time, 5 or 10 minutes. And once you come out of Shavasana, always come out slowly. Roll to your side when you're ready. And then make your way back to a comfortable seat. So you can just stay in Shavasana. Thank you, wherever you are, however your asana is positioned. Thank you. The light in me sees and honors the light in each and every one of you. I miss you. Just stay healthy. That's all our focus is. Every cell in our body is healthy. Every cell in our body is happy and healthy. Every cell in our body and our mind is happy and healthy. Keep repeating that mantra, share it with your friends, and namaste.